The modfather RTA 30 millimeters is a big boy, big mean boy, and definitely one of my all-time favorite tanks. I love this tank. Love it. Well, obviously, in the final thoughts, if you're interested, there will be a short little video after this explaining, my experience with this. So let's get into this. Let's get into the build. Let's talk about what coils I'm going to be using. We'll definitely always start pretty much with that. A dual fuse Clapton 26 gauge core wrapped with 38 gauge outer, which I prefer fuse Claptons considering the longevity of them. The flavor you get off of these things is out of this world. It really is, and in my opinion, super easy to make. I'll go ahead and link pretty much in every video I do. I think I'm just going to link my fuse Clapton how-to. I think they're worth the trouble. I do. And after you get them, it's nothing to whip them up. I just whip these up out of nowhere. Another look at that. 6 wraps around a 3 millimeter bit. I tend to go really big, at least 3 millimeters, whenever I build the modfather. We'll get into that a little bit later. Now looking at the deck, you're seeing maybe, probably thinking, that's a little small for 30 millimeters, man. Think like the aromomizer. Let me go ahead and pull this off, and I'll show you the bottom here. There you go. So that classic underfeeding that we all know and love. And of course, the, velocity, style posts here. Wide open, these are really huge. I mean, you can get away with just about any build I can think of, or I would ever use in it for sure. So let's go ahead and build it up. Let's just start it out. Typically with the first one, we're going to work one at a time here. Kind of like the Griffin Mini here. I want to try and get these coils lined up with those bottom juice fill holes, if you will, as close as I can. But I want these, with these, you want to load on the bottom. Because what's great about these posts is, if you're just getting into building, natural contour of the coil here. Some people could get confused here and just kind of go, just put it in as it naturally goes. Like so. Let's work one at a time. Now, what I like to do with my modfather is I like to get my coils really close. I'm gonna go ahead and use a driver here. Keep everything nice and round. Get this in the shot for you. I'm gonna use this just to kind of wiggle my way in, pull on the legs. I want to get fairly close here. Again, I want to line that coil up with those bottom juice fill holes. While I got it here, I'm going to spin this because I'm actually going to need it the other way. But as you can see the distance I'm going here. And of course, after I mount this coil, I'm going to show you guys exactly where I'm at with this. Because we are going to raise this coil as well, just a hair. There we go. Let's go ahead and tighten up the one. Let's see this guy. This tool fits it really nice, so that's what I use. Nice and snug. That's great. Spin it around. I'm going to pull out my driver, pop it back in. Again, I kind of like to, keep this always in my coil because, that round circumference is going to give me a nice solid glow. It's going to give me solid performance as well. If it does get a little, unrounded, it'll still work. But wicking-wise, when you're putting cotton through it, you don't want any snags. You want it to go through nice and easy, as we've talked about before. Pull this away while I tighten down this last little bit. Pull this out. I'll kind of give you guys an idea. Let me move this other coil here. And I'll give you guys an idea about where I'm sitting. There we go. It's not the best view ever, but by the time we straighten that out and lift it up, we're going to be pretty even with those juice wick holes down in the bottom. And those things are massive. Again, we don't want to take that lightly. Don't sleep on it, man. You'll be hating life, dude. One more little tighten here, and then we'll do some adjusting. Yeah, see, that one is really loose. So let's do some adjusting, like we always do with pretty much everything I build. Pop in the driver, give it just a little push till it tightens up, just like that. Stop, come back the other way, and again, pressure, as I push it over. Make sure I'm in the shot. Now, as I'm pushing it towards the middle with my driver here, with this edge of the driver, I got my finger on this coil and I'm pushing against it simultaneously. Let's do it. Nice and easy. It's a great way to keep your coils really tight. And there we go. So nice tight wind here. I'm really happy with that. I'm aiming for the dead center of the posts. Dead center. And now I'm going to raise these up just a hair. Not much, just a little bit. Good. Just about like that. Let me get a good look from my view. I think I'm going to go just a little higher. A little higher on that. Again, you don't need much height on these, but a little, I like my airflow to come in. Typically with this, if you just kind of left it like where I left it, the airflow should hit it pretty dead on. You should get some good coverage of airflow here. If you do lift it up just a little bit more, you're going to get a really nice undertow here. It's really nice, really, really nice, babe, in my opinion. And that's that. One more tighten. Anytime you make adjustments like that, go in with your tool, give it one more little tighten, and then we'll snip the leads. I'll slightly round it out. I am going to have to. They give you plenty of extras with this tank. Gosh, not to mention all the other stuff. Nice and flush here as I cut it, as you can see. Nice and flush. Always try and get it nice and flush. Save you some time when you're wicking it. So obviously, you know, we're definitely not done with this coil, but for now, we're good. We want to mount the other one in. And the same thing. Put on my driver, and notice I did not kink my legs at all. Just left them nice and normal. Not needed here. Pop it in, do a little wiggle. Again, nice and close. Get this side, a little pull on this side. You know, just kind of feel it out. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let me turn this around here. Really holding that coil still. And then I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. These velocity style posts are great for, especially if you're just getting into rebuilding. Go for something with a velocity style post, man. Dude, that's rounded out. I was like, there's no way. Dude, these things been through hell with me. And I'm talking hell. These grub screws, man. Let's see if that one fits. Am I a lucky dog? Yeah, I'm a lucky dog, but not that lucky. Pardon the noise, guys. I got plenty of, I always save my Allen keys from other tanks. It's too bad that tool rounded out. I really like using it. Alright. I think that's going to need a little more if you ask me, but for now, should be good. Again, I'm removing my tool, popping it in. Pull that nice and close. You know, you guys can't see that, but I'm just holding my coil there, as you should too. And I don't think that one fits either. You know, I kind of have all my my Allen keys just kind of together, you know, so I'm just kind of spitballing here of which one's the right size. Let's see, where are you? Lucky number. Is this one gonna work, dude? Is this one gonna work? Oh yeah, it's gonna work. Oh, come on. Maybe we'll get lucky here. That key is so rounded out, but I think we got a good solid connection here. Yeah, we got a good connection. Yeah, really good connection. Good. Again, nice and close. Yeah, we're pretty even right now without having any adjustments made to that one side. Nice and close back there is where I like it. Now I'm going to put my driver in, push over till it gets tight, pull it out, and again, pressing as I move it over. bad, and then lifting up. I'm probably gonna end up having to pinch that out, but all in all, not bad. Not bad at all. Yep, I'm really happy with that. Very cool. Go ahead and clip the leads here, and then we're gonna do one more little tighten, as long as it'll let us, on our grub screws, because we made some adjustments, right? So let's go through. Might as well hit them all right now. Snug. Good. Okay. I'm gonna throw that thing away, man. I know that's not, yeah, I can tell that is not rounded out. So, height, I'm gonna pull this off, throw these trunklets away. Height here, I want to get a good look at it from my view. Pretty dang on the money. This one, probably go up just a hair more. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the same height, which they are, same distance from the posts, which they pretty much are, and I want them kind of lined up with those bottom wick holes, which they pretty much are. I'm happy with that. And I also want them lifted upwards. See, I'm almost to the top of the post here. That's what I want. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. They seem pretty flat. Yeah, that one's pretty flat. And that one could use just a little lift. Not much. Yep, good. Good. One more look at that. Yikes! I'm gonna have to lift that up. That's the thing with building, man. Gotta have some patience. Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy with that. And essentially, that's it. That's our build. Killer. Let's measure this thing. Have a toque real quick. Little wee nip. Wee nip. So we're going to measure this out, and yes, it's going to measure very low. These fuse Claptons are always made with humble nichrome 80, and that's everything in here is nichrome 80. So we're going to touch the button. We're setting it at 0.08 right now. Now it's going to measure quite low. It should come up to about 0.16, 0.17, usually where it sits. And now we're going to get really, really popping here. Zoom that in just a little bit. Hopefully it'll focus for us. Yeah, there we go. So I have it at 38 watts. I'm going to go ahead and bump that up to about 59 watts. Just kind of bumped it up a little bit. And I'm just going to pulse it. Nice and easy here. One thing about the modfather that I like is you can completely disassemble this deck and build right on it. I like that. And just pulse it. You know, like before, what we should see is some legs glowing. Oops. No pinch. See how those red legs are glowing now? So now they're glowing like that. We want to just go ahead and just kind of give them just a little nudge. No problem. And a strum. Always ceramic tweezers. If you have metal tweezers and you come in here and you start strumming away, and while you're firing this, you're gonna have a major short on your hands. Take it in. Good. These are such dense coils that I can really just sit here and just give them a hell of a time, you know. I can just kind of bump them around. They're gonna be just fine. They can handle it. They're really tough. If you're using something like 22 gauge, just sit here and just give them a nice gentle strum. But these posts really lock in these any wire pretty much you use on this, which is really nice. See how this one's getting up? I don't like that. Give it a little nudge. Hopefully they even out here. There we go. Little bump. Just work them, man. Work them out. These are really hefty coils here. Again, all coils you ever do, elevated, suspended in air, not touching anything. While they do look close to the post like they might touch, they are not touching. That's very important with any build you do. There we go. Now we're cooking. So total resistance coming out about 0.16 right now. Pretty much where it always sits. And that's pretty good. I mean, that one's kind of getting up, but I think over time it's really going to, there we go. It's really going to settle into itself. So we're going to go ahead and let that cool off just like that. And then we'll talk about the wicking, a little bit about this. You know, the modfather, like I said, I think while it's cooling off, we'll just talk about this. When we talk about, you know, the sheer size of this, and this is actually a shorty kit I have on here. I love this thing. Just cleaned it. But the sheer volume of juice that sits in this tank will work against you. Key to this tank is a big, thick, fluffy wick. And I know people are like, well, I'm putting a ton of wick in there, man. Dude, you know, you really want a thick, dense wick sitting in the bottom of that deck. Absolutely. Also, another cool trick is I'll show you when I fill this. Another cool little trick that I like to do. Pretty much like the Griffin Mini. Should be cool enough to spin off now. Yep. You know, anytime you fire a coil like this, man, be very careful when you take it off your mod. You will burn your fingers, man. And that is not cool. So there we are. Gorgeous colors, right? Golly. So you see we're kind of elevated here. If we were to take it and put it inside of our post, like so, you'll see, hopefully I can get the visual of, yeah, see where that coil's sitting right there? That's right where I want it. Yeah, there we go. You guys got a good look at that now. There you go. I mean, this is a really chunky, thick piece of metal. Check that out, man. And it does have a notch on the bottom, which is nice, but it's not even in all the way. There we go. But it is just above the bottom of this airflow hole. See that? I mean, just barely, man. But you got to be careful, because when you look on the top here, if you look down in there, I mean, we are right on top of those posts. So don't go too high, man. You could touch the bottom of this. This might lead you to believe it's conical in there, but it's not. It's just flat across. So be wary of that. Don't lift them up too high, man. Use the top of your post as a guide, because you know it ain't touching there. You know it ain't touching there, but look how close that is. Crazy. Pull that out. Other side, and let's go ahead and wick this thing. So I already have some cotton rolled up for you guys. This is where you would use your favorite. I'm going to use some Cotton Bacon version 2 here. Nice and thick. You know, 3mm diameter coils, really going to, you know, bring home that really thick cotton. So, trick I like to use, you know, you can kind of sit here and just kind of drag it through, but I really don't want to muck up my coils or risk mucking up my coils. So I'm going to pull on this side. Basically, I'm just going to stretch the cotton as I pull through. So as I pull through here, I'm going to stretch this way smoothly. Nice and fluff here. See that? See how fluffy that is? That's what you want. So how do I know where to cut this thing? How do I know where to do this? Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can take it off of here and cut it. You can bend it over essentially like, 1 second. I'll just go ahead and screw this off and show you. which is a way I tend to favor actually quite a bit. So you have it like this, right? You can just pull it down here. Back you up. So you just pull it down like this, then cut it right with the deck. What I like to do is I like to put it down like this. Now I'm not stretching. Notice how I'm not stretching this cotton a lot. Like it's still fluffy coming out of the coil. Think about that when you do this. You don't want to stretch this cotton way down here. I want fluff here, man. I want a lot of fluff. But what I do is I make an indentation. This is what it's going to do. Watch. See that indentation? And I go just a little bit past the indentation. See the indentation right here? Just a little bit past the indentation. A little less on that. But not much. And that's how I do it. Take that corner off. And that's how I do it. Let's do it again. But this time we can do it right here on this. I love that you can just kind of screw this deck in and do what you need to do, man. So we have it like this. We're going to take our pick, push against the deck, lift it up, pop it down in. Boom. And I'm going to have to get in, you know, the normal mode that I usually do to kind of clean this up. So I'm going to pull this off. Kind of all over the place today, aren't I? And I popped it in. Now I'm just simply going to pull it back. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that's sitting in there. Essentially, I want these two, the end of this, to kiss the front of this one right here in the middle. Right here. So when I pull up like this, lift it up, pop it in, they should be like kissing each other, man, right in the front. But if you know, look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Now, remember the pocket we've always talked about before in the past? Underneath that coil, it's super important to get the best flavor you can out of this. And can I tell you, the modfather delivers on the flavor category, man. But I'm just going to move it around like that, because when it's wet, we can actually do it a lot more. That's what I like. And trust me, it keeps up. Believe me. Let's do another one. Keep it at that view right there. Pop it in. Grab it. There we go. That should be pretty decent. Again, keep it fluffy and just try and do this on camera. Just like that. I might have to re-wick that one. We'll see. We'll see where it sits. And that's all I do. I just make the indentation. Instead of having to hold it and cut it, you can just make a little indentation and then go from there. Again, push it against, drag it up, pop it in. Done. Same. That side's really fluffy. I would definitely want to be covering both the holes on these, on the bottom of this deck. That's a definite. So I'm going to look down in there. I don't want to see any deck at all. I'm really happy with this one. I think the other one might re-wick it. There we go. Pocket. Very important. This other one, we'll get it juicy, fix it up, definitely. So that's what we're going to do now. Again, one thing I like to do, throw it on my mod and get some juice on this stuff. Because then I can really, really start to form this cotton exactly where I want it. Good. pinch. Just kind of pinching the corners to really help that cotton in this corner here. Yeah, this one might be on the little on the thick side, but I'm honestly not worried about this thing keeping up at all. Not at all. That's great. Might be... Oh, there we go. I was just hung up. God, you gotta love that. I like to make sure that, see the bottom? See, you can see that metal plate on the positive post there? I don't like cotton on there. Why don't I like cotton on there? I actually use that as a frame of reference of how juicy this is. Now if I look down there and there's a pool on that, I know that I'm having a wicking issue. If I look down, it looks just like that pretty much, just a little condensation on it. I know we're flying beautifully. That's what I like. And that's why I like the coils a little closer towards the center, because I can look down visually, because this thing has such a massive chimney on. Look at that thing, dude. God, it's beautiful, man. And you can really see just exactly how it's going. And in my testing, and all my testing I've done with this thing, I've had great results with it. Let's get some juice on it. So how do I juice it up? Is I just put a little bit on each coil. Let me zoom in. There we go. Put a little on each coil, and then just hit the button. It'll suck it right in. This thing just, like Shang Tsung, dude, just freaking absorbs everything, man. Like power, cotton, just drinks the cotton. Drinks the juice. Yeah, when you're talking about such a large capacity of e-liquid sitting above this thing and the way that it feeds, you gotta put cotton in there, man. You gotta. But one thing you want to keep in mind with the modfather is the pocket is key, man. It's super key. This thing just delivers in flavor. Fantastic flavor, dude. Yeah, I'm pretty psyched on this. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. Now I'm gonna make my adjustments. Like this cotton rhea right here. Like these little frillies, I'm gonna get rid of those. Let me back you up so you can get a visual of this. I'm just gonna drag my pick across. You know, at this point, I can really make my pocket. There we go. Pocket is key. Push my cotton in a little bit more. But that pocket is key. There we go. It's a good visual. That's what I like. As long as cotton can fly around, or not cotton, air can fly around this coil, I am a happy camper. Never had a dry hit with this, and I've never had any leaking except for at first, because guess what I did? Like everybody else, man. For the most part, when they get this, they kind of like, well, I'll treat it like an aromomizer, you know? Remember, wide diameter coils, lots of power, plenty of cotton covering the entire base. Try and get a super good close-up for you guys on that base. See that? It's completely covered down there. Nowhere for it to escape. So, now that we got that, let's go ahead and pull it off the mod. Be careful not to mess up the cotton you just kind of took your time with. And now we're going to flip it over. What am I looking for here? Same thing as we were looking for on the focus on the Griffin Mini. I want to make sure. Yep, we're looking great. Now, if there is some cotton poking through, all the way through, it's honestly not that big of a deal. I prefer mine to not be poking through, but if you poke it through, it still works great. It's a trip. Like I've actually tried, I've just pulled it through and tried it like that, and it worked just fine. You know, when we're talking about this much e-liquid, you know, and I mean, even in the shorty kit, it's a ton. I mean, I can imagine. I mean, in the extended kit that comes with this, I mean, this thing is like massive, dude. It's like, I think it holds like 30 mils of e-liquid or something like that. So, yeah, keep that in mind, man. But there's a nice little shot at that pocket again. So let's put it back together. You know, so like I said, if someone's poking through, I leave it. But for the most part, typically, I leave it just like that. I do want them completely covered, but not poking through, as you can see here. I hope you can see that. Jeez. Okay, next up, we're going to pop it in. We're going to line up the notches here. Pops right, it like snaps in. It's so nice. There we go. I'm going to look on the inside. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That came out really well. And then your bottom section. As you can see, juice feeds through these holes, completely surrounds this deck, and then boom, right up in, man. Got a little juice on my gloves there. I wear the gloves for contrast and focusing issues until my lighting gets here. And we won't worry about all that anymore. But there it is, drip tip. So, you know, you can look down in there and see those coils, no problem. It's kind of a trip. See that? So I can see just how juicy everything is when I move them to the back like that. But man, I get great performance out of this. Fantastic. So let's talk about filling it. First things first. I gauge when I shut this off. I know some people will just kind of go like this and then fill it. Make sure, man, go all the way to where those juice flow holes right there. See those? Line it with that on both sides. Then you know it's really closed off. I mean, that's closed off for sure. Pop the top and fill it. And yes, it's going to take a ridiculous amount of e-liquid. It's great. I love that. I love bigger tanks. I love a lot of juice capacity. It's just what I like. I've always been a fan of it. The shorty kit holds a ton. I mean, even though you do have to fill up quite often, but I love that. I love the flavor I get off it because I'm really close, a lot closer to those coils than the stock one. Leave air in here too. Anytime you fill this thing, you know, don't go craziness. Just fill it to the top, but leave air. Always want air. Next up, cap. Now when you put your cap in, before you tighten it down, turn it upside down, and then twist it on like that. And flip it back over, and you're good to go. Done. No leaky. There's the juice flowing right there. No more leaky. There we go. Beast. Yep, nice. Everything's looking really nice and juicy down there. When I look down in the bottom, I can see that center. I know for a fact that we're not getting any flooding issues whatsoever, but everything is definitely nice and soaky, man. Killer. I'll give you some other shots of this when we do the final thoughts for sure. But man, this thing is a marvelous tank. Let's hit it on the way out. You can't give it enough power, man. Thank you so much for joining me. If you guys are interested in my final thoughts on the modfather, awesome. Come join me. Next video, man. Next video for sure. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this helped you in your modfather journey. Talk to you soon, guys. Blessings.